Okay, thank you, Martin, for this time from you and that we can give you a presentation about the findings in China. Of course, you know us, Peter and Sven. Next, please, Peter. The table of content. First, we're going to give you a little introduction about what we did in China. A little bit of the country background, where we're going to tell you something about the D-step analysis. Then the customer analysis, where we go a little bit deep on what the customer wants in China. The competitor analysis speaks for itself, which competitors are important and what do they do. The channel analysis, which way is the best, which ways are the options to enter the market in China. Then to combine all those factors, we're going to do that by a SWOT analysis. And after that we have a strategy, which we think is the best. After that, our conclusion and the recommendation, and at the end we have some time for some questions. So now the introduction. Martin, first of all, we want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to do this assignment for your company. This is a photo on one of the first days. It was at the China Global Food Fair. We've met many distributors who we also had appointments with later on. So it was a nice start of our trip to China to have a global view of what things are on the market. We have discovered many new ways to enter the market, and we hope you will enjoy our presentation. First, the country background. We're going to tell you something about the demographic facts. The first thing is China's growing population. As many of the people know, China's population is growing each day more and more. China's population is now 1.35 billion people, and is estimated in 2030 for an amount of 1.45 billion. So there's a 0.10 rise in 15 years. For Shanghai, that is 24 million current, and at the time of 2050 this will double to a 50 million population. So it's a very amazing rise of the population. Next to that you have the China's growing middle class, and the middle class is around the $6,000 to the $25,000 a year. It's a very important trend we see in China now. And it comes together with the next point, China's urbanization. Many people from the rural areas are moving to the urban areas, so farmers, former farmers, etc., their children all moving to the new cities like Shanghai, Beijing and other big cities to work there. So what's happening, a whole new group is earning more and more money, and so the middle class is growing. That's is important for us to a really big new consumer segment. The last point of the demographic facts is the aging of the population. There is a group of wealthy retirement population who had former government employees, and they have a good retirement, so also they can spend a lot of money on new consumer goods. The economic facts. There's a growing GDP. Of course, this hangs together with the middle class we spoke. The GDP is from 30,000 RMB from now, expected to be in 2030, as you can see over here, to 100,000 RMB, and that comes together with like $25,000 now, and let me look. $15,000 and $30,000. Next to the economic facts is that the chocolate branch demand rises. There is a continuous rise of the demand of chocolate. Right now that's $2.7 billion a year in China, and in 2019 it will almost double, even a little bit more, by 60% to 4.3 billion. So the chocolate business is a booming business in China. The social cultural facts. There is a really high demand of Western products. Chinese people think the quality of Western products is very good. They have faith in it, and they don't have faith in their own products. This comes of many scandals happening, for instance with the baby powder. But they know European, American, all those products from the Western world are good. So if your product, what you bring on the Chinese market is from a Western country, it's always for the Chinese very good. Next to a sociocultural fact is giving gifts. That's an Asian tradition. It comes a little bit from earlier in the years, where it also can be seen a little bit as a bribery. But it's still in the tradition by every meeting, every appointment you have with a Chinese partner, to bring a little gift or take them to dinner. So giving something like a chocolate character should be a very pleasant present. Next to that, you have that a point of the government who forbids luxury gifts as cars, luxury vacations, etc. But I come back with that at the political points. Technological facts, that's the imitation of products. China is well known for its imitation of products. They imitate almost everything what's popular on the market, like even KFC, iPhones, everything what you can imagine, they gonna try to imitate it. A positive point for us is they can imitate the idea of a chocolate character, but they never will duplicate the quality of the products. They don't have. You have, Martin, all the skills, all the knowledge from far back years ago. So that is something the Chinese people cannot imitate. So that's a very positive point. Then the political facts. When you have to start a business in China, it's very difficult to start over there. This is because all the licenses, the business licenses, the tax registrations, the import and export clearance, work safety expansions, and warehousing. All these things, China is still a little bit a bureaucratic country, where if they want you to succeed, they can give it you. But if they don't want, they can be very irritating. So that's very important of the political things. Next to that, as I mentioned before, this last year in 2015, there was a law, a new law against expensive gifts to fight against business fraud. As I mentioned, it's called way back in the history of bribery, giving gifts to please the others. And in the last years, this was booming. People took people on expensive holidays, expensive cars just as a present. So there's a new law who forbids this, but not for little gifts, such like a chocolate character. That's still allowed to give a present like that. So that's also a positive point.
Okay, thanks, Sen. Now the customer analysis. In China, imported chocolate is still seen as an exotic and luxury good. However, it has taken a long time before the Chinese people accepted chocolate. But now during these days, the Chinese chocolate market is still growing, and the demand of foreign imported chocolate is also still rising, like the Belgian chocolate, but also Swiss chocolate, and also Dutch chocolate, but it's not so very known as the Belgian and Swiss chocolate. But in the supermarkets, a lot of the consumers coming who are living in the middle and low segment of the society, and those people don't have a lot of money. So the products the supermarkets offering can be too expensive, and therefore the price of the chocolate is in the supermarkets is very low, so everybody can buy it. But then the chocolate is in mass production. Then the competitor analysis. Our competitors are very famous with the Chinese people. They are already longer here in China, so they know what they want. They got their own stores, but also doing on mass production, what I already told in the last slide. But that's not a really problem. We can find it out. But none of them are selling Chinese characters, so this is for us a USP. The conclusion of our competitive analysis is that it's going to be hard to gain market share on the Chinese market. But we have two USPs that our company, that our competitors don't have. Like what I already told you, the Chinese characters made of Dutch chocolate, because there are no companies who are selling here Dutch chocolate, only what I already told, Swiss, Belgium, some French chocolate. So this is very interesting for us. Then we got the channel analysis. There are two options to bring our chocolate to our chocolate characters to the Chinese market. One is by a distributor, and the other one is to open your own shop. To discuss the first one, it will be a mass production if you do it by a distributor, and the price will be low. So it's interesting for the low and middle segment. That's also the biggest group, what already Sven also told. But the product will be placed then in supermarkets, next to the other chocolates in mass production. The second option is to open your own shop. What's very important then is to know the language. You have also to live there, because you have to know the people there. You need to know what's happening around there, stuff like that. And also, what's very important is you have to know the right people, because you need some license to open or to get your chocolate in and stuff like that. Also, to get a new warehouse where you can put all your chocolate in. It's very important to have. And besides all this, all the things that I mentioned, is that you need a big investment to fix all this.
All these steps
All
to
these
open
steps.
your own shop.
Yeah, to open your own shop. Thanks. And now SWOT analysis.
Yes, the SWOT analysis. We put every strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats to one analysis, and we call that the SWOT analysis. So first, the strengths of Martinez. You have a long and deep knowledge of producing a high quality product and a unique product. You own your own factory, so that's a really big strength. You already have experience with doing business international, as you mentioned, with Greece, Argentina, Poland, call it. So that experience you have. It's a unique product. It's seen nowhere in Shanghai before we see it. We've been to many chocolate stores, many super malls, supermarkets, but never we have seen the product. So it's a very unique ID. On the other side, we have the weaknesses of Martinez. There is no experience doing business in China, and China is a really different country as the Western countries you're already doing business in. So that's a little bit of a weakness. Also, there is no expertise in the Chinese language. We have had a couple of lessons, but it's so difficult to learn the Chinese language with all the characters and everything. So that's really a weakness, because in China many people speak English, but not everybody, and you really need the Chinese language. And another weakness is that Swiss and Belgian chocolate is known for its quality in China. Everybody in China knows Belgian chocolate is okay, Swiss chocolate is okay, but Dutch chocolate is not that much known for being good quality. So as a company from Holland, you have to fight really hard to make that known that the Dutch chocolate is also a very good quality product. Then the opportunities. We think there are many opportunities for Martinez. This because of the growing population and the growing middle class. There is a larger consumer group, so that means more sales. A growing wealthy elderly class, as I mentioned. Growing urbanization trends. Still, people are moving to urban areas, so this is still gonna grow. And with that, growing income per capita, so people have in the years more and more to spend, so also more on grocery and consumer goods such as chocolate. The demand of food will multiply by 5 in 2030, as chocolate is a food, so it will fall under it. and an opportunity of the demand of chocolate will increase with 60% in 2090, and what we know, maybe even more in some more years. We have two threats. The first one is the difficulties in bureaucratic licenses and taxes. As we mentioned, China is still a bureaucratic country, so it is difficult. And a threat is the imitation of the chocolate character concept. So they can imitate the concept, and yeah, it will be a threat. The market entry, the strategy first. There are two strategies. The first one, as Peter mentioned, is market entry by using a distributor. For this one, we give a go. This distributor takes care of the licenses, the taxes, and others like warehousing, etc. They also take care of the volume of sales. They tell you, I want that much of that product, and we take care of it, so you don't have any risk. Also, the distributor takes care of the marketing. They know the Chinese market, they know the Chinese way of thinking, so very positive. The only thing that maybe isn't that well for taking a distributor is that the distributor demands a low price. We have many conversations with you. We know a lower price, as we mentioned, isn't possible at this point. So there would be another option to find it out. The market entry by starting an own company or an own shop in China is also a strategy, but we give it a no-go. This because you have to take care yourself of all the licenses, taxes, and others. It will cost very much money and time. You have to take care yourself of the marketing. You know the marketing here in Holland, maybe in some other Western countries, but in China, as I mentioned, the people think different. You have a complete different marketing strategy, so you have to look very deep in it. There is no insurance for success. As I mentioned, the distributor gives you an amount what they buy, but when you open a shop yourself, you don't have the insurance. It will be a success. We think so, but we not give you the guarantee. You have to speak Chinese or use a talk. There has to be someone living in Shanghai, as Peter mentioned. Two positive points is you can focus on a higher segment, a luxury segment with your own shop. You can position yourself in a high segment and also make the price higher. As I mentioned, you can choose your own price and positioning.
Thank you. Now the conclusion and recommendations, almost the same as the strategy, but one more time then for you. We've come to the conclusion and recommendation that enter the market by distributor is the best option to operate on the Chinese market. The possibility to enter the market by making a partnership with a single or a couple of distributors. As mentioned in the distributors can handle all the local issues like the licenses, the tax and other laws involving doing business in China. Next to the positive things, having a partnership, there is the issue of the demand of a low-cost product. Martinez has to work out for itself if it's possible in a way to lower their price to a certain level, where the distributor agrees but also works out as a profit for Martinez. This was our presentation. Do you have any questions for us?
Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks guys for your presentation. There's a couple of questions I still like to ask. I was wondering if there are any producers where we can work together with?
Yes, there are some. We didn't find them yet. That's because in Shanghai the ground is very expensive, just like here in Amsterdam and around Amsterdam. So we didn't find them yet. We found them on the internet, but we didn't visit them. So there are possibilities to source it out to another factory in China, but not at the big city. So maybe at Guangzhou or other southern provinces,
Yeah.
but not yet in Shanghai.
But we got the leads for it, so
Okay.
it's possible.
So and how easy do you think it is to open a factory over there?
Well,
To open a factory, I think it's quite difficult. Just the same as we told before with open your own shop in there. You have to handle all the licenses, the taxes, bureaucratic other things, warehouses, etc. And yeah, I think if you want to open a factory over there, it is easier to open a shop over there, take your own chocolate from Holland and export it to there instead of produce it over there.
Yeah, you need to you need to know the right people there, but it's still possible. But what he said, and what we said in the presentation, maybe you can first start your shop there and then maybe later a factory.
Yeah. Yeah. But do you think it's easy to produce it according to our recipe?
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure,
course,
it's possible. They if you talk about machinery, they can imitate everything over there what we have in Holland.
Yeah.
And the ingredients we can take just like we do over here in Holland. We can take it from Africa and we send it to China to produce it
Yeah,
over
they're
there.
already doing it also with the Belgian chocolate also,
Mm-hmm.
and Swiss chocolate also. So
Yeah. Okay. So how about the marketing and promotion? How do you think we should do that? Do we require a lot of promotion or?
Depends of the strategy you're going to choose. As we explained, you have two possibilities. One is to handle it by distributor, and they can take all kinds of marketing with it. They have the knowledge of the Chinese market because the Chinese think different as just not like us. And when you go for the other option, when you open your own shop, then you have also have to make your mind up about the marketing, as you said. And also that we think it's a little bit difficult because the way of thinking of the Chinese consumer is a lot different as the people in Western countries. So it's a whole study to fix your marketing on that instead of your own marketing here in Holland.
yeah, you have to work on your marketing if you start your own shop. But if you sell it in like mass production in the supermarket, the product will sell itself. So that's more
the
easier.
distributor
Yeah,
takes care of it.
yeah,
Mhm.
he takes care of it. So
Yeah.
that was it.
Okay. Yeah, those were the most important questions. So thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.